Welcome, paranormal enthusiasts, to this week's episode of We're Creepin It Reel, here on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network, where everyone comes for their paranormal fix. Real people, real stories, in real time. So glad you could join us for some ghostly gab. I'm your host, Eleanor Wagner.
Hey, everybody. As always, I appreciate you hitting the subscribe tab, follow button, or show app on your podcast of choice. Everybody, give a hello shout out to our coast to coast techie, Chris Mabry. He'll be working hard tonight to help us run smoothly. Got some great news. Coast to Coast Entertainment Network is now on Amazon. That's right. If you, as a listener, have this wonderful app, you can watch all Coast to Coast live programming directly from the app. And you can even go back and watch previous episodes. If you don't already have the app, I suggest you go and get it. But wait until after tonight's show because you don't want to miss what I have in store for you. I'm so excited to introduce today's guests. New Jersey Paranormal Project's founder, author, and spirit art medium comes today with his historical medium team member. Help me welcome Richie Michella and Kimberly Geyer.
Hello.
Hey everyone. Hi.
So glad you could come.
Thank you for having us tonight.
Together, quite a team. I know there's more of you who were unable to attend this evening. Who's missing?
Well, we have Marcy Keck, Kyle, Aiden Keck. They're not here tonight.
I usually ask
some of the clips that are going to be shown.
Yeah, we'll see them in the clips and you can talk about that. I usually ask teams who come on the show to pick out 3 investigations that proffer great evidence. But with you, it was a little bit hard because your paranormal memoir is quite extensive and diverse. More recently, Richie, you delved into something referred to as spirit art.
Yes.
Can you define spirit art for my listening audience, please?
With spirit art, that I consider it to be a very accurate representation of evidential mediumship. So here's a few samples that I have of sketches that I did. And what spirit art does is I get pictures in my mind's eye of people, things that they did in life. And what I'll do is around the picture, this is a better one to show you, is I'll start with, mother, father, daughter, the age, things that they did in life, places they went in life, things that they were attached to, personal dates. And I'll just fill that up. And this is the evidential part of it because all of this is evidence. And if I get any of this wrong, it's wrong. You can't accept it. I can't bend something to fit. This is what I'm giving you. So if this matches your, person that you lost, or if this matches a person that's connected to that location, this is going to make sense or it's not going to make sense. So this is the evidence. So the evidence is listed around that picture. I'll sketch them. I'll sketch what I see. And usually at the end of the investigation, or if I'm going prior to an investigation and I pick up on this, I'll even show it to my team afterwards and be like, hey, Kim, was this the person that you saw too? And sometimes it does connect. So it's something that I like to implement.
When you're about to do that drawing, are you kind of like Tyler Henry, for example? I always see him jotting and scribbling on a piece of paper. Are you getting this information, or is somebody from the family telling you her name is so-and-so and this is the day she... So it's
this is
like
all just coming to me. I'll see the name or the letter of a first name. Names are still tough, but sometimes I'll see like Mary and I'll write M, Mary. Dates, sometimes I'll see in my mind's eye. I'll see the ailments. I'll see somebody who's having trouble walking. Sometimes I'm directed to a chest and I'll be like, well, something's happened in here. The blood flow, sometimes I'll see in my mind's eye, almost like the human body that you would look at, and you would see the arteries and stuff, and I would just see redness. And I'll be like, well, maybe they had like a circulation issue, and then that comes through. And it's kind of like I started surprising myself like 3 or 4 years ago when I started to get into this. And at first I was like, no, this can't be, because we all want to know, is this coming from us or is this coming to us?
Mm-hmm.
So once you can start saying, well, this ain't coming from me because everything that I'm saying is making sense to this total stranger. And that was like that one push that I needed to start attending classes with a school and actually finding a few people out there who could be a mentor. And I've been taking classes online with an amazing man. His name is Joseph Scheel. And if anybody out there wants to learn about spirit art, go to his website. And Dawn Pfeiffer, another great spirit artist, she is amazing. These are people that I learn from every day. I follow them on social media. I look at their websites, and you can never stop learning. So that's the whole thing with what I'm doing. I immerse myself in it, and I'm even starting to get involved with a Reiki group to actually learn Reiki.
Oh, that's great.
All these different things can add to you being the proper channel for spirit.
That's so cool. I love the way you work it. It's fascinating to me how thoughts and pieces come to you and how you jot those thoughts and words down and come out with this drawing of what your mind sees.
Yeah, it's like a movie just playing in your mind's eye. I'll walk into a place and all of a sudden, I'll start seeing a man on the stairway, and the man looked like this, and he went into this room, or he went, or he's holding something, say, and what he's holding, I'll start to describe. And it's just interesting how, as the investigation goes on, or as I'm talking to the client, things start just making sense. And so far, the percentage rate of what I've written down with that evidential is just pretty good. And then they say, Rich, oh, you're like awesome. It's like, no. It's spirit that is connecting through me. So all I am is that telephone line. I am nothing more than just somebody who's spirit who is choosing to work through. And that's all. So if credit is due, it's due to them for lowering their vibration and communicating through you. So
that's great.
You have to be a proper channel for spirit.
I followed those posts, and I've seen the comparisons of your drawing to the picture, and it's just uncanny. It really is wonderful. Well, you brought with you a spirit art clip, and I'd like for our techie Chris to put it up for us to watch right now. The spirit art clip.
Yeah. So the question says, how does spirit art work for me? I'm going to give you a little bit about spirit art. I first started reading about people doing spirit portraits. You start with the Bang sisters, and this is bringing it into the surge of spiritualism back in the mid 1800s, around the time period of the Civil War, 1860s, 1870s, 1880s, when table tipping and having seances really came into the forefront, because people wanted communication with the dead. People wanted to know that their loved ones went on, that there was a continuity to all of this. So you have the spike of spiritualism right around the Civil War. I mean, there were even mediums that were going to the White House. The Lincolns were very big in seances, mediumship. So now, fast forward, you have the Bang sisters. There's been so many spirit artists. There's Coral Pulge. There's who worked with Gordon Higginson. She worked with so many people. I mean, there are, these all-star spirit artists that we look back at and we learn from. And, I was blessed to have worked with a great mentor who has told me how to collect the evidential evidence as I'm drawing the sketch. So pretty much the image comes to me in my mind's eye, and other traits come to me in my mind's eye. I'll see things that they did, places that they like to go. I'll ask them for a photo that touched the sitter's heart that I'm sitting with, and I'll see the image of this photo appear. I'll try to write that down, and I'll try to convey, a bunch of different evidential points that are coming through, dates that are important, illness that this person had, whole checklist that you go down, about 40 questions that I like to hit on that makes this evidential. It's not loosey-goosey. You can either accept it or you cannot accept it. And to me, when you hand over that photo, that sketch that you drew, and that sitter presents a sketch back to you that resembles exactly who you drew, and the characteristics match up, I mean, that there is a very powerful form of mediumship, because you're committing. You are committed to what you wrote on that piece of paper, and you are, presenting that to the sitter, and they can either take it or they don't take it, and it's powerful. It is so powerful to see the expression in their face when they look at that sketch, or if it's a portrait artist that does it and paints it, or when they get to see their loved one painted or sketched back to life. It's an amazing connection. I think that's the word. Amazing connection to spirit, and reiterates the continuity of life.
Great job, Richie. Oh my goodness.
I hope that explains it.
Oh my goodness, looking at all those drawings. Oh, you have done such an awesome job. I'm so proud of you. It really is wonderful. I'm so excited for you, because it's obvious the uncanny resemblances, and I can't imagine how those family members feel.
And that's what it is. It's capturing the essence. So I am not a portrait artist. I do my best to capture the essence of that person and sketch that person back to life. And if when I hand that over, it touches the sitter, or it touches the client, or the historian that we're working with, if they can see that person, then I did my job. I got that message across. So,
I'm really impressed. It was wonderful. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Kimberly, now you're on a totally different level here. I know you're a veterinarian by day, but you're also a medium who specializes in location and historical mediumship, who has always been fascinated with the paranormal. But you've got this other side to you. So why don't we start with, when was your first paranormal experience?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Eleanor. And I also love Rich's pictures too, because I did try to draw my first time out when I was starting to kind of explore this a little more. And I still, to this day, my husband makes fun of my pictures. So I also am thoroughly impressed, Rich.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's crazy cool. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that great? So yeah, I started having, unbeknownst to me, but really I started having experiences in an old house in New Hampshire, in Manchester, New Hampshire, which is actually the biggest city in New Hampshire, which is not very big. But it was a house that was built before 1790, and it was as a hotel. And I was staying there a long time, and over the year or two, I started getting progressively more experiences. I was hearing footsteps. I was having night sweats. I was having night terrors, and I've never had them since. So I started having these experiences, and I'm like, something's going on. I'm like, this is real. Like, this is happening to me. This isn't just on TV now. And I was still watching, Ghost Adventures at that time, and I was still interested in the paranormal. But at that point, it was happening to me. So I knew something was going on. But it really wasn't until, I went to vet school. I didn't really have much room in my mind to really think about the paranormal very much. But it wasn't until I came it wasn't until I moved to New Jersey. When did I move here? 2014? Yeah, it wasn't until I moved to New Jersey in 2014 when I started having experiences out at places, like out in the woods, in buildings, in homes, when I started having these recognitions. And, spirit works in wonderful ways, because I'm a science person. So, I kept wanting to just, brush it off. This isn't really happening to me. I'm not really picking that up. But they kept presenting these things to me that I couldn't refute anymore. Like, I couldn't brush it off. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm picking up on stuff. Let's explore this a little more and probably since 2000 and I would say maybe about 4 years ago, I started really taking classes, really getting into this, figuring out what I'm picking up, being able to express it, and taking more seriously going to locations. I think I started going to my locations in 2019, which is right around the time I met Rich. I think was also 2019. Also, yeah, it was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of how it started for me.
How did you guys meet?
You want to tell the story, Kim?
Oh, sure, yeah. So one of the places I had my an experience where I really couldn't refute what was going on. It's called the Hibernia Mines in Hibernia, New Jersey. It's St. Patrick's Cemetery. So I was hiking alone with my dogs. It was in the dead of summer. It was like July, and I was hiking, and I got to this part of the trail where I started getting very uncomfortable. I felt like there was like a tunnel of people around me, and I like gathered my dogs together, and I was like, that's a weird feeling. I'm like, okay, whatever. Kept going, and then I went back on that same trail in the fall when all the leaves had gone down. I had the same exact feeling at the same place. And I looked over to my right and I could see these white crosses in the middle of the woods. So there's a cemetery in the middle of the woods called St. Patrick's Cemetery, which you can't see it on this particular trail in the summertime. So again, at that point, I was like, okay, what's going on here? So when I first started being like, okay, let's kind of explore this a little bit, my first video that I put out for Ghost History Medium, I did at St. Patrick's Cemetery because that's where I had this experience. So I was like, well, let's sit down and see if I can get and communicate with more information. And actually, Rich had seen that video. So Rich had actually seen my first Ghost History Medium video that I ever posted.
And it was awesome.
And from it, got the courage to message me because it's my videos have progressed a little bit since then in a good way.
Yeah.
And so he contacted me and said, hey, I do paranormal stuff. I'm nearby. Do you want to meet up at that location and see if we can pick up on anything? And I was like, absolutely. And I was so excited now that there was somebody else who is also interested in it and wanted to kind of experience that place together. So yeah, that was cool.
Like the rest is history.
Yeah.
And I see you guys get along great, and that's so huge to be able to really understand each other and be in sync and work together as a team. It's really hard. Really hard to find that, and when you got it, don't let it go. It's great. Hey, Kimberly, can you explain to the audience what historical mediumship really is? How did you notice you had this special gift?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I started having a lot of experiences outside or at locations. So what I started to do is because, at these historical places, you don't really have a local historian, on speed dial that's like, hey, I'm picking up on this person. She looks like this. It's kind of this, she's this age, this name, she's doing this. So what I ended up doing is to see if I can better myself and understand this a little bit better as I was going to these locations, videoing them, and then going back into the history books. And that kind of process, I was like, what I'm doing when I'm there is I enter into the space of a location and I ask for the location's permission to read it first. I ground down, I center myself, ask permission, and the location acts as my sitter. So, how Rich was talking about a one-on-one sitter with a person, how they're drawing their loved one. So how it kind of works for me is the location is my sitter. And I ask if there's spirit individuals who would like to come forward to talk about the location. So their connection to the place, usually some strong connection, either they lived there, passed away there, built the place, some major event happened there that they were involved in, that they'll come forward and talk to me about it. So that's one way that I'll get information from spirit at location. I also do use psychism. So I will see events as they may be happening out of location. And I also use some remote viewing as well. So I'll see how a place looked in the past. And as I'm doing, that's kind of a little separate from when a spirit comes through to speak to me. But as I'm running through the remote viewing, I'm running through like the timeline of a location, and it can go back kind of far, not on purpose, but some places do have things that happened back in the past that might be relevant to today. So I've come to kind of call it location or historical mediumship, because after I do my reading to validate what I get, because I agree with Rich also, if it's not really validated, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt, not saying it's wrong or incorrect, but with evidential mediumship, we really look for that validation of, yes, it's in the history books. Yes, that did happen. And I don't always get that all the time, because the history books don't, they don't record everything, or it may not be how it really happened. So I still have to take that with a little bit. But that's why I go back to the history books, is to really say, wow, that really did happen, that they said that, or that person really did exist here. And that's what I use for my validation at locations. I also with the paranormal, and why it's kind of nice to combine this in a group, is because when you're at a location, you can get additional validation from the tools and other people, what they're picking up. So often I might be picking up or seeing something, and then Rich is like, "Oh, is it this person?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like, and I hadn't seen the picture before. Or I'm like, "Oh, I saw them standing over by the stairwells." It just happened to us recently. I saw a person over in the stairwell, and he said, "Oh, I did too." So that's just double validation.
Validation, sure.
Yeah.
I've been on investigations with you before, and you've just amazed me with your talent and just coming out with this stuff. And I've been like, oh, I'm jealous because I don't have anything near that. I kind of have like a foofy feeling. I know when something's negative or positive, and I have to use tools to actually connect. So I'm not as gifted as you guys are. But I really do appreciate what you do and what you have. And so from the outside viewer point of view, it's really incredible to watch you at work. I really do like that.
Awesome.
You guys brought a clip tonight where your focal point as the ghost medium, history medium, you at a historical landmark in Parsippany, New Jersey, called the Parsippany Rock House, or Rock Shelter, as it is known to many, where 3,000 years ago Native American Indians took shelter. Can you tell me a little bit about that, one of you guys? I don't know who wants to tell us about the Rock Shelter.
Rich, go ahead.
Over 30,000 years ago, I mean, these inscriptions were chiseled into the rock, and they're still there. It was a shelter. So you have to think there's at least residual energy that's caught in these rocks and in this place, because it was such a pivotal place for the native people. I thought, why not ask him? I had Marcy come, and we went to the rock shelter just to see if we brought the REM pod that you see right, where is it? Right there. We brought that over. And it was funny. When we first set it up, we were getting nothing. But then once we implemented using the Lena Lenape music, we were actually able to use the music as a trigger object, I feel, to get responses on the REM pod. So it's a cool clip. And Kim, as soon as she got there, she was firing. It was like she was picking up on everything that was happening in that area. And also inside the rock shelter, you'll see there's a sketch that I did, and it kind of made sense. So check it out.
Very smart that you thought about those trigger objects, because that kind of stuff really does make things happen. And now we get to watch Kimberly in action. So
especially the power of music, and how that translates almost as language to the.
Absolutely. So now we can have Chris put up that clip called the Parsippany Rock Shelter, so everybody can see Kimberly in action.
Known to generations of local school kids as Rock House, the Parsippany Rock Shelter is a collection of titanic glacial boulders that tumbled to form a rudimentary shelter. Evidence of human habitation extends as far as 1250 BC and as recently as the late 1500s by the Lena Lenape Native Americans. Although Although there's no conclusive evidence for the location as a calendar site, it may have an astronomical significance in prehistory. The landmark contains a rare New Jersey example of Indian petroglyphs, thought to have been etched into the rock between 500 BC and 500 AD. My good friend, Kim, the Ghost History Medium, joins me at the Rock Cave, and we engage in a conversation with spirit.
So I'm seeing dried meat and skins and hides drying on here, on these rocks. Drying. I don't know where is these. Somewhere in the
West would be probably towards your back.
And I'm getting blasting. So this would be recent. Blasting.
Maybe for
I'm
someone,
hearing it.
maybe for the homes that are being built, maybe if that's.
No, this is well, maybe that could be too. But this is somebody came here to check if this was also a good mining spot.
That I came to look. That's why I felt like there were a lot of people looking out at it.
Yeah,
Like
I can understand that.
Corner of your eye, you would see movement, and I was like, wow, I really feel like there was a lot of people in here.
Yeah, a lot of
hunkering down.
A lot of people, like not just a small band. It feels like if I could put like a number to it, it could be like 20 to 50, something like that. 20 to 50 people in an area like this.
And you could see it could fit a lot of
I just got
people.
the chills in my head again.
And, the one sketch that I did that was very prominent to me was of an older man, like long gray hair, kind of like, leathered kind of look to his skin, and with rocks. He had like a little pouch to him, and inside the pouch was a bunch of different rocks. So when you mentioned rocks, that's when I'm like, what about rocks?
Rocks are really important to this. Obviously, I mean, it's a rock shelter.
Yeah.
But there does seem to be like some type of like whispering to the rocks or like listening to the rocks.
I didn't know if it was just making something up, but it's an image that still stays with me right now.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's fading. So
Yeah.
he must have maybe been like the elder or something maybe here.
Yeah, and I feel like he would have been in this area. Was this where you felt like you picked him up?
This is where I felt him.
Yeah, this is where the elder
pouch
would be.
with the rocks in it.
So that's a medicine pouch. They had medicine pouches, and I'm sure that was probably he had spiritual items or totems that they would put in there. They're both going nuts.
Same song with music every time. What do you see?
I'm getting, I think I got touched to my left shoulder.
Incredible. As a team, you've done many an investigation together. I've been on several with you, and you definitely are in sync with one another. Having my own paranormal team, the Lady Ghostbusters, I've seen how important it is for team members to have a positive energy, which enables everyone to be on the same page to get that profound evidence. You all investigated Ringwood Manor, located in Ringwood, New Jersey, in Passaic County. We can put up that picture for the audience to see. Picture credit to the Ringwood Manor website and Andy Marshy. Built in 1739, it was originally home to a number of well-known ironmasters from the 1740s to the late 19th century. The current manor house wasn't actually built until 1807. During the Gilded Age, Ringwood Manor became a large summer estate of partners Peter Cooper and Abram S. Hewitt and their families. The house and its contents and 582 acres were donated by the family to the state of New Jersey as a museum and state park. Now, you had mentioned, Richie, to me, Robert Erskine, was that
Erskine.
his name? Yeah, he was a Scottish inventor and engineer who came to the British colonial province of New Jersey in 1771 to run an ironworks at the Ringwood, New Jersey area. How does he fit into the Ringwood Manor picture, and what happened during your investigation there?
Well, he was the mapper for Washington when he was in the area. That's pretty much the man who did the maps of the area for Washington. So he was made a general in Washington's army, and he's known as the forgotten general because not too many people know about him. But he really played a pivotal role in the area and knowing how the surveys were and the land, and and that played a huge role too in Washington's movement and also his bunkering down in Morristown. And so yeah, that had a huge impact on the war, and I feel that he played a huge part. um, he was the first person there, right after, I believe the man's name was Peter Henscleaver. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it was him, then Erskine, and then the Hewitts came in. So you have all these Iron Masters that stayed at this home. So lives were lived here, and good, bad times, all that is absorbed into the land, into the rock, um, into the area's surroundings. And that's just for residual energy. And you had all these pivotal people at different times in history staying here. It is rumored that even Washington stayed here on his way his way to Morristown. So you have all these people, and the struggle for our country's freedom, and all these different things are playing out. Yeah, without a doubt, this place has spirit activity. So I remember reading an old book about the manor. It was written by Holzer, and what Hans Holzer went there with a medium in tow, and they had a fantastic investigation. And the medium actually connected to a servant girl, so you could actually read about that encounter in one of Holzer's books. So when we went to the manor, besides the spirits that I know about, I wanted to know if the spirits remembered Hans Holzer there. And we actually were able to capture on the Phasma box, which is a spirit radio. I asked, does anybody remember Hans Holzer? And you actually hear in that, in the Holzer accent, Holzer. So,
oh, wow. That's great.
It was a hair-raising moment, and it's, all up there. So
is that in the footage that you brought with you tonight?
Not sure if that's in that cut, but if not, you could find it on the YouTube channel. I just made a video and I titled it "In Memory of Hans Holzer." And
that's so cool. Well, you did a great investigation at the mansion. I know you brought some footage with you tonight, so
and just anybody I think watching it just should know, like, they don't encourage any paranormal investigations. You have to stay away from the manor. And that's why
they don't like it there. Oh,
they don't encourage any paranormal investigations. And if you do go there to investigate, make sure you do it in the daytime.
They do offer ghost walks, so through their organization.
Through them, yeah.
So if people are interested in going to this place and experiencing some of the stories and going at night, they do offer that at night. Yeah, ghost walks.
Oh, they do. That's cool.
But if you wanted to go with your own team, or you had tools that you want to use, stay on the grass, stay in the woods, stay in the cemetery. Just don't go around the manor because they will stop you.
Got ya. Well, I know that you brought some footage with you tonight, and we'll have Chris run that footage for us.
General Robert Erskine, who is kind of an unknown general in the Revolutionary War time period, but he was instrumental in our success here in the United States getting independence. He was a Washington, and he went on many trusted errands, mapping all of New Jersey and different towns to plan their defenses and forts. So I'm going to try to see if any individual in this particular area would like to come forward from the history books, who would like to tell us a little bit more about their story, about their experience here. And Robert Erskine, General Robert Erskine, would like to come forward. Pain in my left neck, pain in my chest, lots of pain in my neck. I have a gentleman with me. He's taller. He has the little black boots. He has the white tights. He has a longer coat. It's blue. The longer coat blue with cream trim with buttons. He's taller. He's a little bigger, but he's kind of like a much taller than me. He's like up here, taller than me. Hi, is General Erskine here with us? Here, present for duty. Sir, thank you for your service and thank you for helping America become independent. We appreciate your sacrifice. And we are here just to get to know you a little bit better and to hear any tales that you would like to tell us. Can you tell us what rank you were?
Detailing downtown. It's a map maker's term.
Did you work with General Washington?
So if you know any history, I do know history of him. And he was ordered to do this. And you don't say no to General Washington.
Many years ago, Hans Holzer made contact with you. Do you remember Hans Holzer? Yes. I'm happy it made it.
Well, that beautiful structure is located in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, built in 1893. It's a 21-room Queen Anne-style home, which overlooks the beautiful Sandy Hook Bay. It was once a summer cottage. Whoa, nice. No, not that one, Chris. Nope, this is the one we're still on, the original photo. To the Adolf Strauss family, and he was a wealthy New York importer and merchant. It's beautiful and obviously haunted. And I love that they were paying homage to Holzer. Now, what would you say is the most important thing you wish to accomplish in your investigations?
To give spirit a voice. I mean, that is what we're there for. You know, we're not there for any, personal gain or for our own egos or we are there to, try our best to bring forth a story, to bring forth something that they want to convey, to get across. At times, you probably know we sit in the dark a lot, asking questions and not getting any answers. But if we could walk away from an investigation with one piece of evidence, just something that we can't explain, whether it's audible or whether it's through mediumship, I feel like we did our job. We're there to aid spirit, and if spirit wants to chat, we're all ears, and if not, that's fine.
Yeah, every spirit, that we're communicating with or experiencing at a location, each one has had a life, and each one has a story to tell and an experience. And if we can just be kind of that conduit to be able to help explain, or, give a homeowner some confidence in what's going on, or help explain what's going on, and just kind of understanding how energy and how spirit is just trying to communicate and tell us whatever they need to tell us. It can be a whole wider range.
I totally agree with you, Kim. Like, that is sacred. When you go into someone's home, okay, you're being tapped, you're being called in. They're frightened. This isn't something that they're okay with, like we are when we deal with or we hear stories. These people are frightened because this is their personal space that they're coming home to. They are vulnerable, and now they're dealing with something that's outside of their control. So now we're coming into their space. We have to choose our words and our actions very carefully. And whether the spirit is coming across as menacing or making, noise that's scary, we can't jump to a conclusion and say it's demonic, it's, a demon, or it's because that alone could just drive the family crazy. It could utterly just put a rift in the relationships there. So we have to be careful. Okay. And I think we need to understand spirit. And before we get to that page, I mean, everything on the television now is demon, devil, demon, devil. I mean, that's a very small corner of what's happening right in the paranormal. There's
Very frustrating. Very
there's
frustrating.
there's light energy and there's darker frequencies. I'm not
Right.
labeling them demon or devils, and I feel it's almost like looking at the ocean, right? You have really light spirits, and then you have darker and darker energy. And this could be troubled souls. This doesn't mean that they're demons or devils. If you die and you were a bad person on earth, well, you're not playing a harp on the other side, right? You need to grow. You need your frequency to rise and blend and move up. And if you
Right.
choose to be miserable and depressed or, not accepting, then you'll dwell in a lower frequency. That's why I feel that, it's important when we investigate, we surround ourselves with high frequency people that are, of high vibration rather than low vibration, because anybody who has a lower vibration, like attracts like, right? Well, you ever hear of people that are always encountering bad things? Well, maybe it's because you're, vibrating at that rate. So you're attracting that. So we just have to be careful. We have to also self, care. I don't suggest anybody get involved in this. If you're going through any struggles or depression, and your mental state is huge, you have to be of sound self, and, you have to have your spiritual armor on. And that has a lot to do with what I'm doing now with Reiki and meditating and balancing chakra work and energy work, because that all plays a part in that connection. So the only thing I ask is, if anybody's getting involved in this, is you have to be respectful, and we have to choose our words and our actions wisely.
I agree. Well, what happened when you were at the Strauss Mansion Museum that night?
Strauss was an amazing experience. I think Kim could even go into when she first arrived and the impressions that she got from it.
Oh, yeah, sure. So one thing that I've been playing around with a little bit is, well, I don't want to know anything really about where I'm going. I don't want to know. I barely even want to know the name of the place.
She's definitely yelled at me a few times.
Yeah.
Okay?
Because I want to go in as cold turkey as I can, so so the information that comes forward is not potentially contaminated by my mind or something. So one thing I've been playing with before going to these locations is what I've called like a pre-read. And I know Rich does this sometimes for locations as well. So you can kind of connect into a location before you go by either with a picture or thinking about the address, or even the name of a place. And it's been helpful for me, especially when going to these bigger investigations with multiple people, multiple teams, just because it can get a bit distracting if you're trying to be quiet or get your read. So for this place, for Strauss Mansion, yes, I did a pre-read for this, which was fun for me. I did it the night before, and I also leave it a little open because I have had spirits come to me in dreams before locations. So this also is something that I leave a little open, which can be debatable in a hot topic, but so far everything's been fine. I have had no issues. So if some spirits feel it's most comfortable for them to visit me in a dream and give me information in a dream, great. So with Strauss Mansion, I got a man, and I was actually able to describe his facial features, which is not always the case for myself. And I'm describing where I saw him, what he was doing, the kids, his the wife, and then he was talking about. Forgive me, I forget a lot of it, Rich. Sometimes I forget all this. So
That's
He
okay.
was talking about like cargo coming in, coming
yeah,
out.
he was talking about steamships and cargo, and then Titanic specifically came up, and I'm like, why is he talking about the Titanic?
Wow.
And so I get there, and they're like, I'm telling the woman who runs the place or was volunteering for the night, and she's like, oh, we have a whole room full of Titanic memorabilia. And I was like, well, there you
wow.
go.
And we're like, here, Kim, go ahead, check it out. You
That's
know?
cool.
Yeah, he was telling me about that, and this was the owner of the house. He was also telling me about the stained glass and all this other stuff. So that was really fun.
And then we also picked up the man on the stairway.
Together, yes,
Yeah.
independently. Yeah, we both saw a man on the stairwell independently. Yep.
So
Yep.
it was
Did you
like
get a
another
picture?
validation.
Did you get a picture, Richie, that you were able to make a drawing of him? Or
Yeah,
you
that's
didn't?
actually in the clip.
Oh, okay, great. Why don't you run the clip, Chris? The Strauss Mansion clip.
So this is the stairway that I saw him at mind's eye, and I sketched it. I see a man standing on this stairwell, and he's kind of like doing this with his arm and leading us up. So it's kind of crazy being here and seeing that same stairway I saw in my mind's eye right here. And the look of the man, I saw him looking like Arthur Conan. The look of the man, I see him looking like Arthur Conan Doyle, spiritualist, Sherlock Holmes writer. This room, right across from us here. He's a facial hair, not burly, but big man. I see him like breasted suit, very studious. And I'm gonna put that sketch over this right now. There's also a woman. Her hair is up. And a boy. Hello? Is there anyone here? Can you put your arm up?
Looks like somebody's taking a bath, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or washing their hands at the sink.
Hello? Can you put your arms up in the air? That is interesting.
It looks like somebody's bathing. Seriously. Like they're scrubbing.
We're gonna come in the room.
Are you napping? I don't think so, no. Because if I was, I'd be getting it again.
It disappeared.
Yeah. I just wanted to show that we aren't napping anything. Or aren't matrixing anything. Hey, well, that one might be. Because of the mirror over there. Let's see. No.
You got some great footage. The SLS camera is really a great tool. I love it. I've had some great experiences with it.
The Connect camera is great, and Marcy goes through the location with it. So we kind of like pinpoint like where active places are with it. You just have to rule out if it's mapping an actual object or if you are picking up on spirits. So sometimes we'll turn the camera and then put the camera back on the area just to make sure that we're not false mapping. But it's a great tool. And, combined with mediumship, combined with old school research, whether you're using pendulums or dowsing rods, I mean, everything
Yeah.
plays a part.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I love it. Richie, why don't you go ahead and tell my listeners what you're doing now and how the listeners can find you and your books?
Well, you could watch our YouTube channel, New Jersey Paranormal Project on YouTube. You could also follow the Ghost History Medium on YouTube. You could check out my books on Amazon. I'm on all the social media platforms, so Facebook and TikTok and and we have some seminars coming up in the local area, Morris County Library, the Rockaway Library. You could come out in October and catch them. We've got a lot of things happening. You could also get all this information if you log on to www.richardmoschella.com. And I also post links for my friends. You could also find Kim's page there too and check out her website. And if you're into reading blogs, you got to read Kim's.
So Kim, tell us what are you up to these days?
Yeah, I am still going to historical places. The last one I went to was Monmouth Battleground in Manalapan, New Jersey, Freehold, New Jersey, that kind of area. I know it's like all kind of crossed there. Working on the historical video of that. That was a great experience. And yeah, so I have a website, ghosthistorymedium.com. There's a bunch of blog posts, kind of just some of my musings about how energy works and spirit and about raising the energy of yourself and your home and all kinds of stuff about what I've learned about the metaphysical and about spirit. Yeah, I have my YouTube and I'm slowly working on a book. I would not say I'm very prolific as some authors here, but it'll come out someday. I'm still learning a lot too, honestly, because I don't really have a lot of references kind of for what this is, this location mediumship kind of stuff. So I'm kind of just learning as I'm going and putting some information and pieces together as I'm learning it. So it'll come together.
It's very important.
That's the key. That's right. For listeners who are interested in paranormal investigations, what advice, Richie, would you give to them?
Respect. Your intention when you go into a place is huge. What energy you're bringing in. You can't walk in and demand spirit to communicate. Spirit chooses who they want to communicate with. So you can't go in and just start screaming, show me your presence. All I ask is that when you go in, you're respectful, and your intentions are true and of service for spirit. You're not in this for yourself. It's a lot of hours that you have to put in of going through evidence and researching. And if you're all in this for the views and, the publicity or whatever you think you're going to get, it's really tough, so your intention is a huge thing. So
Kimberly, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And like I've said before is, what we're experiencing here, I would call it paranormal is because it's part of the unknown. We don't really know what's going on. We don't really have words or experiences to say this is definitely what's going on. So just understanding that what you're experiencing and what we're trying to document is energy. I mean, it's energy in different ways. And this energy is a manifestation of spirit and of a person. And so going in and having that respect and seeing if there's anything you can help with or want to speak for them and share for them. Often I found that in itself, even if you're able to give the entity a name and a face, often quiets activity down. So just really going in with that respect, have a good solid 2 feet under you. That's really important also. And take care of yourself and keep your energy up.
I feel like they want to be acknowledged. And if we acknowledge them, then they're getting what they want, right?
Yeah.
They just want you to know they're there.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to connect and they're trying to find somebody who can hear and respond to them. So if we acknowledge them, that's the key, I think.
and help tell their story.
That's right.
Yeah. And acknowledge their accomplishments. Ringwood Manor, I mean, those are really important men who lived there, who really shaped northern New Jersey. Like that's important. Like they're important. These places, historical
Absolutely.
places,
Yeah.
are important. They're, we've kept them in our history for a reason.
I'm all about that historical preservation. I
You see through
want that to.
Tim's work too, the historical and the paranormal, when you investigate them, they pretty much line up.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is sometimes you find little tidbits that might not be in the history books that actually played out at these locations.
Right.
So,
hey, Richie, did you give us did you give us your YouTube channel and where we can actually go to find you?
YouTube, yeah, my New Jersey Paranormal Project on YouTube, or you just type in my name, Richard Moschella, and you'll see all our videos. They're probably now, Kim, probably over 100.
Probably, yeah.
So and then I also post little like thinking, like little chats on energy and how we could raise our vibrations and live a high vibe life and connect with spirit and spirit art videos. So there's a lot of information also.
You're doing a good job. How about you, Kimberly? Do you have a place where we can go to, a YouTube channel or anything in specific that you can share with the public?
Yeah, so YouTube, it's Ghost History Medium, or my blog is ghosthistorymedium.com.
Great. Thank you, Richie and Kimberly, for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Yeah, thank you, Eleanor.
I
Always
really
happy to
enjoyed
talk.
having you on. Oh, I'm really happy and really enjoyed having you on, and we'll be sure to invite you back in the future.
Thank you. Definitely.
Excellent.
I had a blast.
For all of you out there, you can see that New Jersey has a treasure trove of haunts to visit, so you might want to put together your list and pay us a visit.
Come on down.
Yeah, that's right. And Techie Chris, we couldn't do it without you. If you like listening to this week's episode and you're into all things paranormal, check out my other show, Eleanor Wagner's Strange and Scary World podcast, out of the Paranormal UK radio network, which is available wherever you get your podcasts. If any of you are interested in reading any of my books, you can find the links to them on my website, authoreleanorwagner.com. I write about the history of the town and location, add the paranormal story to the mix, and finish it all off with photos and evidence. And if you're looking for some protection from ghostly attachments, the Lady Ghostbuster unisex bracelet is the perfect thing. This gorgeous protective gemstone bracelet with sterling silver ghost charm is the perfect fix. Offered in a collaboration with Zen Jewels by Zen Jen, you can find the link for this gorgeous piece at my website, authoreleanorwagner.com, under the merchandise tab. Don't go into a haunted building unprotected. Arm yourself with the Lady Ghostbuster bracelet by Zen Jen Jewels. Viewers, tune in on Thursday, September 1st, when Isaac Sanchez from Shadow Walker Paranormal comes to share some ghostly gab with me at 8 p.m. And as we go out, enjoy the Headless Horseman soundtrack by Alexander Nakarada as it takes us out. Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed this little journey down my own personal nightmare alley. If you're one of those people who experiences the paranormal and has stories of your own you've been filing away over the years, I want to hear about them. And if you're a part of a paranormal investigative team, even better. I'd love to have you on my show. Got a questionable photo? Send it in. Would love to have an open discussion here amongst the professionals. Reach out to me at authoreleanorwagner@gmail.com. Enjoy our soundtrack music, Headless Horseman by Alexander Nakarada, promoted by freestockmusic.com. And remember, no ghost story is better than a real-life ghost story. Until we meet again, make sure you're creeping it real.